Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, better known as CZ, just lit a match under the timeline, with a series of public statements asserting his strong conviction that 2026 will break the traditional 4-year halving blueprint and enter a structural supercycle. The internet has gone completely wild translating this into a classic retail battle cry. Altseason is back. Time to rotate everything into low-cap meme coins and unbacked Layer 1 networks. Traders are staring at Bitcoin hovering over $65,500 following the stabilization of the U.S. Iran peace deal, expecting an identical repeat of 2017 or 2021. But the signal, the structural reality observed across institutional desks, order book liquidity distribution models, and massive on-chain data pipelines, reveals a vastly different, highly disciplined landscape. A supercycle does not mean a rising tide lifts all garbage. In fact, the old concept of Altseason, where every unbacked, speculative token magically pulls a 50 times purely on retail hype, is structurally dead. The SEC just completely omitted digital assets from its 2026 inspection priority list, signaling that the regulatory gray era is giving way to institutional dominance. The market has decoupled. Today we deliver a comprehensive 20-minute analysis of the supercycle reality. We break down what CZ actually meant by breaking the 4-year loop, explain why the old retail liquidity waterfall is broken, and map out the exact prospective altcoins that are designed to capture systemic institutional capital velocity in these precise macro conditions. My name is Newell and welcome to the Signal and Noise podcast. Do well to subscribe. Let's dive in. Let's look past the social media clip chimping and surgically dissect what CZ actually stated in his recent commentary. He explicitly noted that he is a builder, not a day trader, and his thesis is based entirely on institutional infrastructure rather than localized price speculation. For over a decade, crypto has been bound by a predictable 4-year boom and bust cycle dictated by the programmatic supply halving of Bitcoin. CZ's core argument is that the sheer volume of permanent capital flowing into the system through spot ETFs, corporate balance sheets, and state-level strategic reserves has completely overwhelmed the supply dynamics of the halving event itself. In previous cycles, a macro shift meant hot retail capital sloshing from Bitcoin down into progressively riskier assets. This time, as the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act heads toward a historic congressional vote, the legal boundaries are being hard-coded. Bitcoin processed an astronomical $25 trillion in total transaction volume over the past calendar year, quietly surpassing legacy credit rails like Visa's $16 trillion. When fundamentals strengthen faster than market sentiment, a supercycle is born. But it is an institutional supercycle, not a speculative retail mania. The historical expectation that money will inevitably cascade into obscure utility tokens just because Bitcoin stabilizes is a lethal retail bias. Capital is no longer flowing down a waterfall. It is being highly segregated into explicit value-generating institutional silos. To find the prospective winners of this new paradigm, we first have to understand why the old Altseason playbook will leave you completely wiped out. In 2021, the entire altcoin market cap could move on simple social media momentum because the aggregate market float was highly constrained, and the number of competing tokens was relatively low. In 2026, the structural plumbing has completely altered. Thanks to the rise of hyper-scalable Layer 2 infrastructure and automated token generation protocols, tens of thousands of new tokens are launched every single week. Retail capital is completely fragmented across an infinite sea of supply, making a structural, market-wide altcoin pump mathematically impossible. Major token projects over the last 2 years launched at astronomical billions of dollars fully diluted valuations, FDVs, with aggressive insider unlock schedules. The market is facing a continuous multi-billion-dollar wall of structural programmatic distribution as early venture funds use any minor retail rally as exit liquidity. Large institutional allocators, like Wells Fargo and Morgan Stanley, are actively accumulating digital asset exposure. But their risk compliance mandates prevent them from interacting with networks that lack explicit regulatory clarity or tangible economic yield-bearing architecture. The modern market does not care about your favorite Layer 1 project's theoretical transaction per second speed test. The market cares about economic throughput and resource allocation efficiency. If a protocol does not serve as a primary settlement layer for real-world utility, its native token is structurally designed to bleed towards zero against Bitcoin. So where is the institutional signal pointing within the altcoin landscape? If we filter for networks experiencing real demand acceleration, a distinct cluster of prospective assets emerges. The decentralized compute and intelligence layer, BitTensor, TAO. In an economy driven by AI labs and agentic commerce, computation is the ultimate currency. BitTensor acts as a global, permissionless neural network, aggregating machine intelligence and algorithmic resources across specialized subnets. As tech companies encounter massive hardware and centralized API constraints, $TAO serves as a high-velocity resource allocation token that directly capitalizes the expanding AI infrastructure layer. Next, the high-fidelity infrastructure ecosystem, Ethereum L2s, and core upgrades. Despite organizational critique, Ethereum remains the undisputed institutional settlement backend, with the technical rollout of the Glamsterdam upgrade, introducing enshrined proposer builder separation, EPBS, and the explosive scaling of localized high-speed ecosystems like SEI or low-latency financial engines. The protocol fee generation layer is solidifying. Capital is concentrating specifically in protocols that act as primary execution bridges for tokenized real-world assets and sovereign debt issuance. Then we have the privacy and security sinks, Monero, XMR, and compliant tech. As regulatory frameworks like the Clarity Act formalize state-level digital monitoring, the demand for raw, uncensorable financial privacy scales exponentially. While legacy compliance entities seek public tracking, international private commerce requires secure, untraceable liquidity sinks, ensuring that specialized privacy-focused networks retain a powerful counter-cyclical structural premium. Lastly, programmatic payment architectures keep a critical focus on dedicated protocols, specifically optimizing for automated machine-to-machine micropayments, allowing autonomous AI agents to clear settlement instantly without relying on legacy credit card clearings or centralized banking architecture. Let's bring it all home to the definitive structural verdict on CZ's Supercycle and the future of altcoins. The noise. The traditional 4-year crypto winter is broken. A monolithic Altseason is right around the corner, and buying any random basket of tokens will secure generational wealth. The signal. The traditional halving-driven cycle is fundamentally mutating because massive institutional inflows and macro stability are reshaping the market. But this shift completely destroys the old speculative Altseason framework. We are moving out of the purely speculative phase and into the era of hyper-focused infrastructure capitalization. The capital flowing into this market will not blindly rotate into unbacked speculative tokens. It will relentlessly concentrate in networks that capture real programmatic network velocity, whether that is through decentralized machine intelligence, secure institutional settlement networks, or critical privacy infrastructure. Stop trading based on the psychological ghosts of 2021 bull runs. Separate the structural signal from the retail noise. Position your capital inside networks driving real-world economic throughput, and ride the supercycle, where the actual plumbing is being built. Stay sharp, stay focused. That's it for this definitive edition of the Signal and Noise podcast. My name is Newell. Make sure to like and subscribe. The old cycles are dying, but the new architecture is built to last. Understand the plumbing or get left behind. We'll see you on the next block. Please, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. Track the plumbing, decode the incentives.